Well, since there's been a large demand for it, I decided I'd make an E3 video. I made an E3 video last year, several in fact, so why not? As I said, every E3 gets a little worse, but doesn't everything in life? That's my whole philosophy. It gets worse. In actuality, I can't really say it's worse, it's just a different kind of bad that, in my opinion, is even more unbearable. The way I describe it is, last year's E3 was as if your dad had got you a Christmas present, right? And he's like, hey son, I got you a puppy. And you see the puppy's bright little eyes, and you're like, oh, thank you, daddy. And then he's like, but I have some bad news, son. The puppy only has 3 weeks to live. He has very bad cancer, and his liver is shutting down. And then you start to cry. Whereas this year's E3 is more like your evil dad gets you this big, huge Christmas present. It's in a big box. It's like bigger than you are. And you open it, and what's inside? Nothing! Yeah! And your dad's just pointing and laughing at you. Now mind you, in both these scenarios, this is even still the morally superior option than E3, because at the end of the day, your dad was giving you those gifts. He didn't charge you money for them. He was a dick, but he was at least a creative, charitable dick. Whereas the video game industry is not giving anybody anything. They are making you pay money for this shit. And that's what it is, complete shit. So, I've written down a list of games I wish to talk about immediately. As you've probably noticed, I'm wearing my Naruto headband. Why is that? Because, like last year, the only games to look forward to at all are the weeboo shit, which says something about the video game industry. It's not my fault. I do not particularly like JRPGs. I do not like anything with big anime eyes, but they're the only games that have any sort of credibility to them. It's almost as if they're the only ones that they bother to work on, even on a minuscule level, and that's not saying much. So let's get started. Darksiders 2. I don't think I need to go here. You know how much I hated Darksiders 1. The problem is, when I see a game sequel, I expect it to actually be better than its previous incarnation. I do not get any of that from games nowadays, especially Darksiders 2. Darksiders 2 is about you playing the Four Horsemen as before. Now you're playing death instead of war, and you're no longer a fat space marine. Which is good, right? I sincerely doubt it. The problem with Darksiders 1 was that you were this 800-pound guy with a 900-pound sword trying to jump around platforms. That did not end well. Now, you're a much more reasonably sized fellow, but the platforms are even worse. They're like skyscrapers and fucking ice picks that you have to climb on and shit. It's fucking ridiculous. On top of that, the bosses look just as difficult as before. Actually, I shouldn't say that. The problem with Darksiders 1 was that the mini-bosses were terrible. Like, they would just throw 4 fucking knights at you in one time, and those knights take like 10 to 15 hits to do any kind of damage to. So, when you gotta fight all 4 of them at the same time, you can't run away from them. This is a forced battle. You're in a very enclosed space, and the only way for you to advance is find some way to deal with these guys, and nowadays, we don't have cheat codes. So, I don't know why. I don't know why they think that they have the right to take that from us, the ability to explore the video game in all of its depths. It has nothing to do with, oh, you know, you're just a pussy, you're not good at gaming. I fucking paid for the game. It doesn't matter whether or not I'm good. The fact is, since I'm paying for it, I have expectations. And I expect those expectations to be met. And they're not being met. How is it a game from fucking 20 years ago is 10 times better than a game right here, right now? And to top it all off, Darksiders 2 has made no improvements. I was looking at the game. I neither saw improvements in the control scheme. I saw no improvements in graphics. It's been like 3 years since Darksiders 1. And what has been accomplished? Nothing. And that's the main issue with today's gaming institution. There is no work ethic. There is no desire to make innovation or progress because all they care about is fucking money. And they know they're gonna get their money because some stupid asshole out there actually liked Darksiders and convinces everybody else, it's just like Zelda. No, it's nothing like Zelda. Zelda had depth. Zelda had game balance. Zelda was actually fun to play. Darksiders is like something that came out of a retarded 5-year-old's anus and then he just started playing with and making little turd action figures out of. So, that's Darksiders 2. The reason why I have the Naruto headband is because there is another game like Darksiders, only halfway decent. Dante's Inferno Ninja Theory. From what I've gathered, they've gotten rid of the old homosexual strobe lights Dante, and they replaced him with a different character that actually looks normal. He can fly, he has a cool katana blade, already it's looking like an improvement to Darksiders. And to top it all off, it looks sleeker, the controls look more fluid, and that means a lot. A game is, no matter how much work you put into it as far as writing goes and game mechanics, it's worthless if the controls suck. The controls need to be triggered immediately. You need a responsive control scheme that actually feels comfortable. I don't understand why gamers and the gaming institution alike don't understand this. You know, why are we still using the same fucking controllers? Instead of worrying about all this goddamn Wii shit, where you're doing jumping jacks to earn points, why not fucking work on a decent controller? Why not go through the trouble of making custom controllers for people to use? And I don't just mean a reskin of an old controller, like that Street Fighter X 360 controller. I mean like an actual controller, like something different, like in the 80s and 90s. So, anyway, and that health bar, my god. When I was watching Dante's Inferno Ninja Theory, there was this health bar the size of the screen. And I have a big screen, so I shit you not, when this thing was like tremendous. It was a boss battle, but still, that's fucking insane. And I always heard Dante's Inferno was hard, but I could not see anybody conceivably having fun trying to dwindle down the HP of that monstrosity. So, you know, I'm not saying Dante's Inferno Ninja Theory is going to be a good game. I'm just saying it's going to be a bearable game. I'm just saying in comparison to Darksiders franchise, it doesn't look like an abortion. But that by no means suggests it's a good game. Now, I have other games that I want to talk about, but I'm going to take a little break right now, drink something, and I'll get back to you.